Speaking of people that might not be in places anymore, especially in poop pipe bursting stadiums, rail breaking stadiums, no hot water stadiums, there's a lot of coaches where the seats are getting incredibly hot. Tone's got a question.
Yeah, Shefty, I don't know if it was Ron Rivera's fault with the water yesterday, but he lost another tough one. Staley lost another tough one. Frank Reich got blown out. Glazer reported that his seat is the hottest. And then I actually heard someone ask Vrabel about his seat yesterday, too, which was a little surprising to me. Whose seat is the hottest? Are any of those guys going to keep their job? Is anything going to happen soon? I was actually kind of surprised that, Staley had a job this morning.
Well, first of all, I want to make a personal request to Jay to send me a thermometer that takes the temperatures of these seats so that I can start taking the temperatures of the coaches' seats and let everybody know whose seat is the hottest at this time of the year, right? Like, I don't have one of those coaching thermometers, but I can tell, I think everybody can tell that you look in and there are certain coaches, obviously, who are under a lot of pressure right now. And the Chargers, like Keenan Allen drops a touchdown and Quentin Johnson, who's a first-round pick, drops a pass that could change the game. And then everybody piles on Brandon Staley, forgetting that last year, I think they were 6-6 and reeled off their final 4 wins. And I'm not telling you that's going to happen again, but we get wrapped up in the moment, and everybody's coming for Brandon Staley right now. And if the two receivers held on to the passes, then they would be leaving him alone for this week.
Yeah, because Chargers defense has been really good. He's been at the call. You're right. If those two guys can catch the ball a little bit better, that would be great. But the Staley questions are only off of this past weekend, obviously, not his entire tenure. I do appreciate that you are sticking up for these guys and not calling for jobs because it's incredibly difficult. But we are at the time right now where it feels like we're starting to figure out who's going to be moving on and who's not. These seats, what does that mean?
I always think once you get past Thanksgiving, that's when hunting season begins. That's when I think coaches get to be put on the clock. Not that they're not already, they always are. But that's when all these calls and all these questions intensify. So on Mondays, if I did have that seat-taking thermometer, then we could give you the actual temperatures. We know that Frank Reich's seat is warm. Clearly.
Warm.
It's bad. It's bad there. We know in Washington, there's new ownership. New ownership is going to want to bring in their people. Is that a surprise to anybody? So if I could stick this into my chair right here, it would be very, very warm in Washington. Very, very warm.
There's the thermometer. Right. You got it.
The make-believe thermometer, right?
Does Ron know that? You think? Yeah. Ron knows that. Stick it on
Ron knows. That was very warm.
All right, let's move on out of the coaching department. Frank Reich, I think, would like to get back to being in the Bible more than in the Carolina Panthers practice facility, personally.
You mentioned seminary's probably looking pretty good to him right now.
Ron.
How many year deal?
Doesn't matter.
I think 5.
I mean, Tepper, doesn't matter with Tepper. We know that.
Yeah, it's over. You got to give him. I think you got to give him at least another year. But
that ain't happening.
But Pat, look, you got to see.
Frank?
You got to see something though. You got to finish out the year and show something. Now, when you draft, some of it does fall on Bryce too. When you draft a guy number 1, like you got to elevate the people around you. Like you got to do some special stuff. Like those guys in Houston, they aren't bums, but they aren't household names either. You know what I mean? So when you step on the field, when you draft Cam Newton 1 overall in Carolina, shit got better immediately. Same with Andrew Luck in Indy. Once again, not surrounded by bums, but you got to elevate guys.
It's a 4-year contract, and Google actually gives the answer of Reich is actually in the first year of a 4-year contract, but owner Dave Tepper proved once again this week he don't care. He'll fire anyone at any time.
Awesome.
If you shout out to Charlotte Observer being the answer for Google. Frank Reich going, how many years is my contract again? 4 year.
Oh, boy.
He will fire your ass. Anytime, any place, does not care. And then what do you just start back into it again? You start back into it.
That's their dilemma. That's their dilemma. Like, okay, say we stick with what we're doing, then they start out 0-6 next year, 1-5. Then we're like, okay, now what do we do?
Tepper's going
we keep delaying.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
You're gonna blow up the team.
Well, that's also probably why you almost have to fire him now, right? Because you can't take that chance where it's like this offseason there's probably going to be a bunch of good candidates when you look at like Ben Johnson and like Bobby Sloak and some of these other OCs.
Yeah, Ben Johnson's gone, right?
He's absolutely gone.
They actually wanted Ben Johnson last year, and I'm pretty sure he said no.
Yeah. He said, no, we're building something special.
But if you don't fire Reich and they do start 0-6 next year, then like you're just behind the 8 ball.
But what if they were to start 6-0?
Well, that's not.
And then all of a sudden,
that's not going to happen, though.
Oh, okay.
If we knew that, if they knew that, then they would keep everybody.
In terms of them being different from Jacksonville too, so with free agents, like they're going to have to overpay good guys to come there and play there, right? Whereas at least with the Jaguars, there's no state income tax. There's some they certainly overpaid good guys, but they're not going to be getting any great top end free agents you wouldn't think are going to be circling Carolina and being I want to go play.
Lake Norman's beautiful.
It is.
Charlotte
is
Queen City.
Oh yeah, you go for
Pat. The other part about that too, we kind of forgot. The Panthers were getting a lot of praise for the coaching staff they assembled. They brought in Evero from Denver.
We were praising.
They brought in
you
Deuce
got 6
Staley.
quarterbacks on the thing.
Yeah, Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell's a senior assistant there.
Yeah. How's Deuce doing through all this?
Probably not great.
No.
Who's he fought? He's fought somebody down there.
I assume so.
At this entire
Brian
thing.
Burns.
What do you think Deuce is doing right now, AJ? We haven't heard from Deuce at all.
Man, we saw how intense he was in those Hard Knocks episodes, so I'm sure he is struggling. He's seeing he's probably happy for his old guys doing well, but also at the same time wants that in Carolina.